Hi, this is Krista at the Secret Yarnery. Today we are making these super cute Shamrock bookmarks. These bookmarks work up so quick, and you can use any sort of yarn that you have at home. If you'd like to follow along with a written pattern, it's available over on my website, secretyarnery.com. And you don't have to worry about being able to read a pattern. All of my patterns are written in plain English, just like I'm talking in this video. So you'll need some yarn, just a little scrap of whatever yarn you have at home. I'm using a 5mm crochet hook. You will also need a needle for sewing in your ends. So let's get started. So we're going to start by making a magic ring or magic loop. So to do that, just hold your tail over your non-dominant hand and pinch it down on your ring finger with your thumb. Wrap it around 2 fingers, making an X. Wrap it around your 3rd finger and just hold that underneath your thumb. Flip your hand over, you'll have a short loop and a long loop. You want to slide your hook side facing down, underneath the short loop and on top of the long loop, and drag that long loop underneath the short one. Point the hook towards yourself, that loop way up on the fat part of your hook. Now slowly release your thumb, just to wiggle that yarn a little bit, and turn your hook facing away from you. Grab that long loop, turn your hook facing down, and slide it through that loop on your hook, releasing your thumb so you can get it through that loop, and chain 2. 1 and 2. If you don't want to do a magic ring, you could do a chain 3 and slip stitch to join. Now we're going to do 1 treble crochet, so wrap your yarn twice and into the center of that ring, taking care to go over your tail. 1 treble crochet. One half double crochet, so just wrap your yarn once and wrap and take off all 3 loops. So that's a half double crochet. And wrap your yarn twice again, 1 treble crochet into the center of the ring, taking care to go over your tail. There's your treble crochet. And chain 2. 1 and 2. Now slip stitch into that ring, just to bring down that chain. So slip stitch. And slip stitch 1 more time. So we're going to do 2 slip stitches, just to give us a little bit of space. So that is our first leaf of our shamrock. We're going to do that 2 more times. So chain 2, 1 and 2. Wrap your yarn twice, so 1 treble crochet into the center of your ring. One half double into the center of the ring. Wrap your yarn twice, 1 treble crochet into the center of the ring. And chain 2. 1, 2. Now we're going to do 2 slip stitches into the center of that ring. So this is our first slip stitch and our second slip stitch. Chain 2. 1 and 2. And there we've done 2 of our leaves, so we have 1 more left to do. So treble crochet into the center of your ring. 1 half double crochet into the center of the ring. And 1 treble crochet. So wrap your yarn twice for the treble crochet. And chain 2. 1 and 2. Now we're going to slip stitch once into the center of the ring, just 1 slip stitch to hold it down. Now you can grab your tail and just kind of pull it a bit. We're not going to pull it super tight yet. Just in case we've made a mistake, we can always go back and undo it if we don't tighten this right yet. Now just into the side of that first shamrock we made, that first leaf, you can just go in anywhere that you can get your hook. Ideally, it's down here along the ring, but anywhere you can just kind of poke your hook in and get even 1 strand of yarn to slip stitch. Just slide a loop onto your hook and slip stitch. And now chain 30. 1, 2, 3. You, of course, can make this chain any length you want for your bookmark. And now pinch that last chain you made and chain 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. Now into the back loop of our third chain, so right here on top of where we were pinching, we're going to go right into that back loop, the third back loop from our hook, and we're going to do 2 double crochets. So wrap your yarn and into the third chain from your hook, 2 double crochets. There's 1 and 2, and chain 2, 1 and 2. So now we're going to slip stitch into that very same spot right here. So pop your hook in and 1 slip stitch. Just like that. So now we're not going to chain or anything like that. Grab your scissors and cut your tail, just leaving it long enough to sew in with a needle, and just pull your hook up and that yarn through. So go ahead and thread that yarn onto your needle. And now get your pretty side of your stitches facing up. Want it to look nice and pretty at the bottom of our bookmark, under those 2 strands of that first chain, or that chain at the top of your circle. And that's where we're going to stitch our little circle together. You want it to be hanging nice at the bottom of your bookmark. So just get it looking how you want it to be, and then sew back and forth, nice and careful, so that your teardrop or your circle at the bottom, your little polka dot, is laying flat and looking cute the way you'd like it to be. And then just go back and forth a few times. When you're happy with how it looks, flip it over and now just work in your tail, just in that fat part of your polka dot or your circle. And go ahead, cut that tail off. And now back to our magic ring. We can pull it down nice and snug. If you're using an acrylic yarn, you can pull nice and tightly. If you're using a cotton yarn or a silk or something that is soft, maybe you want to do a chain 3 and a slip knot to join. And now thread that tail onto your needle. And our yarn is coming from this direction here, so I want to go back up that direction, so the opposite direction of where your yarn is coming from. So right back up the same direction a couple times, and then back down, just so it's not going to wiggle out. Just in the fat part of those stitches. And now you can cut that tail off as well. And there is your first super cute Shamrock bookmark. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I did. I'd love to see how yours turned out. You can find me on social media. All those links are in the description box down below. And if you haven't joined and subscribed to this channel, go ahead and do that under this video right now. Thanks for hooking along. We'll see you in the next video, and stay hooked.